All right, guys, the portal is back. The transfer portal reopened again on Tuesday. Florida State is once again expected to be active in it. Uh, Definitely not as much as the winter window, as we don't need like 10 plus players this time. Probably looking at more about 3 to 4, maybe 5. You're more than likely going to see more kids leave the portal from Florida State than they are to come in, but there's still going to be some talent likely to come into FSU. Just a reminder that Florida State cannot reach out or start pursuing these kids until next week due to the NCAA sanctions that came down on them earlier this year. That was a NIL-related violation back in 2021. But next week, they are expected to start making some moves, and there's already some names out there that we think Florida State could be active with. First being Texas A&M safety Jacobe Matthews. This is a former five-star guy from the class of 2022. According to On3, out of high school, he was the 19th best player nationally, and he was also considered the country's best safety. Safety is something that Florida State could use another good depth piece or someone who could start, but they're going to look for something really good, right? Someone who probably played beside Shaheem Brown and let Hussey learn for another year and just kind of rotate in with Hussey and Barker and people like that. According to Pro Football Focus, the former five-star had a really good coverage grade with 80.8. He also only gave up 10 receptions on 21 targets last season. As for his actual stats, Jacobe Matthews had 42 total tackles, a half a tackle for loss, and 1 interception with 4 pass breakups. Again, five-star guy who we think had previous relationships with the staff already. This is someone that when Florida State can reach out to kids starting Monday, we expect them to go after hard. Another one, Jason Zandamela. This is someone who was really only on campus. Not really. He was only on campus at USC for the spring, and he's entering the portal. He signed and enrolled early in December. This is someone Florida State, if you remember, and if you follow recruiting, was going after hard in the 2024 class. This was probably one of their favorite linemen, if not their favorite lineman in the 2024 class. And once again, we think Florida State will be up there in his portal recruitment. He did put out a graphic with On3's Hayes Fawcett saying who's reached out to him. Florida State was on that list. Again, remember, they can't reach out yet. That is an important detail with someone like Zandamela, who we do think Florida State has a very good chance at. Just you got to wait a little bit longer, and I would assume Zandamela knows that too. It would be hard to believe after how hard Florida State pushed that Zandamela isn't going to wait until Florida State can contact him. And more on Zandamela, Steve Wilfong of On3 also put up something about him. He said earlier this week that the Seminoles will be, quote unquote, tough to beat. So again, like we said, we think Florida State is going to be very much in this year. He also has a former teammate on the team, and Lucas Simmons, who he went to high school with. They are very close friends, and they were throughout his recruitment when Florida State was recruiting him out of high school. Next one is defensive lineman Jermaine Lowell out of Arizona State and Louisville. He was very good at Arizona State, not as good as Louisville, but I mean, just if you look at these stats in 2023, this is Louisville stats, 19 total tackles, 5 for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. And then Arizona State in 2021, he was listed as the second best interior defender according to PFF. 2019, 72 tackles, 10 for loss, 6.5 sacks. And then he missed the 21 season and then missed a lot of the other seasons since. He's kind of gotten the injury bug a good amount recently. But again, if you get him in the right system, he could be good to go. He was extremely productive at his Arizona State. I believe he will be visiting Oklahoma for their spring game on Saturday. But this is a very good defensive lineman. Again, if he just didn't have the injury bug, extremely good. Next one I have is Peyton Kirkland, offensive tackle from Texas. This is someone that just off of looking from where he's from is why I think Florida State can get involved. He's from Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando. Florida. He did have an offer from Florida State out of high school. He wasn't a highly ranked recruit. He was a 3-star. He was rated as a top 30 tackle in the country and a top 100 player in the state of Florida. He did not take a snap for Texas in the 2023 season, so they don't really have any stats on him. That's the only thing that kind of turns me away from him for Florida State, especially in the spring window, that if players don't have a whole lot of production, I don't think Florida State will pursue him as hard because you kind of want, at this point, you want these experienced guys. You already have a lot of question marks on your roster of guys who have things to prove. So you don't really need someone who doesn't have so much experience. The only one who I think is an exception to that is Jason Zandamela because they liked him so much out of high school. And this is basically out of high school again. It's just one semester of spring football. So I think, again, that's your one exception there. But other than that, I do think you need a lot of experience. There's a few other names that have gone in the portal this morning and last night. You had a defensive lineman from TCU and Dominic Williams. Not sure. I think it's Dominic Williams. And then Simeon Barrow out of Michigan State. Those are guys I'm starting to watch and digging into a little bit. Haven't put any updates on the board yet, just because I don't really know anything about it. Just now looking into it. Multiple, if you go look at the written updates or all the updates on the premium recruiting board, multiple players have told me that they have interest in Florida State. Raymond Cottrell, wide receiver from Texas A&M, transferred to Kentucky in the winter window. This is someone, again, he's from Milton, Florida, so that makes me think Florida State could go after him, but it doesn't have enough experience to really make me say yes. Pitt linebacker Solomon DeShields, who's actually the number one linebacker available in the portal right now, or at least when I've put in that update, told me he would be interested in Florida State if he reached out. Another young linebacker who I'm not sure about just because he doesn't have the production numbers, Simanje Burrell from Texas, also told me he'd be interested. Nakai Hill-Green is someone who entered the portal that Florida State he visited last time or in the winter window. This is someone that I think I would consider more of a backup in linebacker recruitment in the portal, just because he doesn't really have much there, right? He's from Charlotte. It's someone that he was committed to UCF in the winter window and then went out of it. I think there's a reason why he went to Charlotte or back to Charlotte for spring ball. Again, if you go look at the premium recruiting board, there are a lot of players that are going to mount, not a lot, that have told me that they would be interested in Florida State if they were to reach out. The only thing is we just need Florida State to hold on here and wait until Monday when they can. Hopefully not a lot of these players commit and you can still make up some ground. So, yeah, I do not think that waiting until Monday will be a huge effect. Again, I think Florida State has enough portal credibility that they can get back into these recruitments, especially one like Jason Zandamela. But, yeah, that's all we got for you now. Stay tuned for more as Florida State can reach out to these guys as more names enter the portal.